Suzuki and his officials decided to send Prince Fumimaru Konoe to Moscow to head the peace delegation. Konoe had tried desperately to prevent Japan from going to war with America in the first place, and it was hoped that he could now somehow secure a peaceful future for his country. However, the Japanese had no idea that Stalin had already made an agreement with the British and Americans concerning the future of Japan. During the Yalta Conference in February 1945, with little consideration of the treaty made with the Japanese 4 years earlier, the Soviet leader agreed to participate in the war against Imperial Japan 3 months after the defeat of Nazi Germany. In return, he was promised attractive territorial concessions, including Japanese-occupied Manchuria, the Kuril Islands, and Port Arthur in Korea, which were all beneath the Japanese sphere of influence. It's hardly surprising, therefore, that when Suzuki's delegates contacted the Soviets to negotiate peace, they were met with silence from Moscow, and soon fears began to grow that the Soviets could pose as much of a threat as the Americans. On the day the Potsdam Conference commenced on July 17th, US and British warships fired 200,000 tons of shells into the coastal area northeast of Tokyo as the build-up to invasion continued. Soon after, the Soviet Union recalled all embassy staff and families from Japan, hinting that they also intended to attack. The future was looking decidedly bleak for the land of the rising sun. But there was soon another unexpected twist in the tangled intricacies of world politics, as Truman and Churchill became increasingly concerned with what appeared to be aggressive expansionism on the part of the Soviets. By July, the Red Army controlled the Baltic states, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Romania, and refugees fearing a communist takeover were fleeing in their millions. Contrary to agreements that had been made at Yalta in February, Stalin had also set up a communist government in Poland. The Soviet leader defended his actions, insisting his control of Eastern Europe was a defensive measure against possible future attack. But as communist influence grew in Europe, America and Great Britain were beginning to fear that the Japanese were the least of their worries. Truman harbored deep suspicions of the communists and was anxious that in East Asia, as elsewhere, Russia should make as little headway as possible. As far as the American president was concerned, the less the Soviet Union was involved in the last stages of the war, the better, and it was with great relief that he received news that there might be an alternative to Russia's involvement. This ray of hope was the Manhattan Project, a secret US scheme to develop Albert Einstein's research in nuclear fission. Scientists had been quietly developing Einstein's theories at Chicago University,